faculty, administration, division chairs that are constantly looking for ways for more technical programs.
Thank you, Beth. Aaron.
The first major problem that we have facing Garden City Community College is community trust. Events over the past several years have caused issues with the trust with the community that we have to rebuild and grow that. One of the other issues that we have is program growth. Our economy is booming out here, our community is growing, our programs are growing, and on the other side of that, the child care issue. Without appropriate and effective child care near campus or in the community at all, our non-traditional students are not able to take the courses that they need to better themselves and to get themselves into the workforce like they need to.
Thank you, Aaron. David.
I see the greatest challenge is enrollment, trying to keep it going up while still maintaining and increasing the online presence. Because as we all know, online presence, you can go to Arizona from Garden City, get classes. But we also have, like they've said before, we got to keep up with industry. And we got to meet those demands. But that's going to take some partnerships with those industries. Currently, I know that like the fire department or the fire science program out there is starting to teach students in Colby, Liberal, and Dodge because their fire programs have went away. The next, all that increasing, the next problem is structures, buildings. Where do we place them? Infrastructure, you know. College is only on so many acres out there. So those are all things that I think are facing the college at this moment.
Thank you, David. Shanda.
I think the greatest challenge, and it's a continuous challenge, not just for Garden City Community College, but for every educational institute, is preparing for the future challenges. And in order to grow and meet future demand, we've always got to be looking forward. Preparing for those future challenges and opportunities, we've got changing technologies, which means we need to be prepared for careers we don't even know exist yet. And we need to have those programs, whether it be the feedlot programs, to meet those demands. And so trying to predict and prepare ourselves for what's coming around the corner next is always going to be a difficult thing and require a lot of research and vigilance to determine the best path forward. We've got to prepare our community for businesses we don't have yet. As new businesses come in and new training and educational demands are needed on the new workforce, we've got to be able to stay ahead and be prepared to meet those demands to help our community grow and thrive. But the changing future also means possibilities of problems we can't yet prepare for and defend from, whether that's student safety, adequate housing on campus, space for the programs we have now and programs that might come in the future. We've got to make sure we're ready to grow where we need to grow. So I think keeping our eye on our future long-term goals is got to be on the forefront of our minds with every decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanda. Scott.
As I see this, there's two aspects and they are interwoven. The first is building trust and maintaining that trust, and I'll come back and talk about that in a moment. And the other is sustainability and growth of programs. And like I said, they go together, hand in hand. The building of trust, I mentioned it earlier in my opening, it's the foundation. Without trust, public entities won't move forward, the end. And in this day and age, unfortunately, there is a growing distrust of any governmental agency. There just is. So how do we combat that? You combat it through relationships, through reaching out to the community, through true listening. Communication is not just me talking, it's listening to the constituents. A particular example of that, I mean, history is what it is. People, I don't see anybody here from Holcomb, but we've been grappling with the idea of building an indoor aquatic center over the last couple months. And did a series of meetings with people in the community. And on Monday night, the board decided not to move forward with that. When a majority of people thought, oh, it's a done deal, it's going to happen. no, we listened to the community, and now is not the right time to be doing that. So that builds trust. The second piece of that is, we've heard loud and clear, to follow up on what Aaron was talking about, the need for daycare. We're in the process of working to get a daycare to be held in Holcomb, Kansas. So that is going to build the trust. Then it leads into sustainability, because if people trust what we're doing and we have the best interests of the community in mind, then we have a better chance of attracting more students to our programming. And so what we have to do there is we have to have a deep, rich relationship with the school districts in the area, find out where are the students wanting to head with their careers. We need to look at the current programming and say, well, once again, the proof's in the pudding. They go through the program, what happens then? Hopefully they're able to get into a job. And so by moving forward with the programming that allows people, it gives them the opportunity to enter the workforce and stay put in Finney County, that's a win for everybody. And that will then go back and build the trust again.
Thank you, Scott. Beth, we'll start with you in the next question. What do you feel are the major responsibilities for individual members of the Board of Trustees?
I believe the individual responsibilities, first of all, you must be part of the team. You can't go off just on a tangent and say, oh, I'm going to do this. They are elected members to meet the needs of the community, the students, and that's what community college exists for. I believe we need to have open transparency, open communications, listen to our stakeholders, and then visit together or collaborate together, make sure that we have the administration, our president, involved. And just as Scott said, some things were not meant to be. But we must work as a team. I think with the transparency, the trust will become stronger. I think as a result of this, we will recruit more students or be able to get more students. We will be able to get more scholarship money. And I think the trustees can build this relationship, as I think somebody in the last session for the Board of Education mentioned, that we as board members need to be out in the community and learning what our stakeholders want.
Thank you, Beth. Aaron?
I agree with almost everything that Beth said, that, as trustees, it's our job to be a part of the team, to be working hand in hand with the administration and asking the difficult questions of the administration on why was this decision made, what was reasoning behind this, to also be the liaison to the stakeholders, the community members. I also feel that, it is very important that the trustee is someone who is out in the community, not just in Finney County, but in the service area of Garden City Community College. I also feel that it's important for us to be involved with, up on the state level in Topeka, working with legislators in Topeka to understand the importance of two-year community colleges, to increase the presence across the state of Garden City, to be able to grow it and be the representation of the college and of the community.
Thank you, Aaron. David?
As most of them said so far, major responsibilities is to be dedicated, be a team, again, communication with the public, the students, everyone. Attend all the functions. I'd say dedicated, go to the functions. Show the college that you care. Show the students that you care. Attend most of the functions that you can. Be able to listen, like they've all said. The stakeholders are out there. We got to listen to what they want. And then we got to bring that into the policy governance and develop the ends and assign our president to develop the means to attend those ends. So, being a team member is one of the major ones.
Thank you, David. Shanda?
I think accessibility is important, and I don't think that has to happen just on campus. I would like to see more involvement with the community, not just the community, with the campus. Go to where your stakeholders are. Not every stakeholder, every taxpayer, every parent can make it to campus or finds occasion to. So go to them if they don't come to you, and find out what the feelings are in the community, what the thoughts are and what the needs are, not just with the parents, students, and taxpayers, but also your business community, your employers. What educational needs do they have that aren't being met or could be met better? Fiscal responsibility is vitally important to me. It's imperative to the future, and it's owed to the stakeholders, both the taxpayers. We're entrusted with their money, and we need to do what's right with it. And we also have a fiduciary responsibility to the students and parents in keeping tuition as affordable as possible while offering all the best programs, equipment, and training that we possibly can. And all of these decisions require thorough, thoughtful research to set the best long-term plan and make sure the best path forward is chosen. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanda. Scott?
I feel the individual responsibility of the Board of Trustee members. It's first and foremost to be a voice for the owners of the community college, and that's everybody in this room. And so be a voice for that group. It's a representative form of government. How do we go about doing that? It's already been mentioned by my colleagues here. Have to be visible is one thing, but being present is another thing. You know, I can sit at a basketball game and not engage with anyone. And, you know, so Scott was there, but that won't move the ball down the court. So we have to be present and engaged, listening, and really looking for the opportunities to hear from what the owners want to see. And that, of course, leads right into building the vision that several people have talked about. I think the board exists for that purpose, one of the main purposes, so that we can challenge the status quo and say, well, how else can we better serve our clientele? What else can we do to make sure that they're set up for success? A third thing, and Aaron mentioned this, it's a good point, we need to show support beyond locally. It needs to be at the state, it needs to be at the national level. There are state and there are national organizations. Board of Trustees need to attend to that. The JUCOs fall under the Board of Regents. I used to work at the Kansas State Department of Education. Literally across the street from that is engaged in meetings with people from both, well, I worked there for 5 years. So you know the players who are involved in that level of oversight or policy setting or running the business, if you will. And the final one, I agree with Shanda. We're a steward for the tax dollars that are being spent. Someone has to watch it. Yes, the CEO is employed to do that. But I'm not a yes man. I don't want yes people around me. If something doesn't sound quite right to me, I'm going to be asking questions. And because I think we're better off with a group of people working together than just one person working together. And as a person who represents the owners, if you will, it's incumbent upon me to have the courage to stand up and ask the right questions.
Thank you, Scott. Vanessa?
You know what's difficult about being last is everybody already said really good stuff. You know, but I will say one thing we left out is integrity. It is important for us to have integrity. We need to stand for what's right, and we need to be vocal about it. And we need to remember who we represent, and we represent those students, we represent the faculty, we represent the community. And we need to remember that they should come first. And we do need to maintain good partnerships. And like Scott was saying earlier is, you know, and Aaron, you know, reach out to at a, you know, state level, but also reach out to Western Kansas. What does Western Kansas rural areas need? What can we do for you so that Garden City Community College can be that college that, you know, their kids want to go to? Or, you know, what can we offer to them? And that's also important because we need to allow these rural areas to grow. We need to remind the state that Western Kansas is important, and we're here.
Thank you, Vanessa. Aaron, we'll start with you. The next question. In the development of a budget, what would guide your decision-making as a board member?
Well, after sitting through both the budget hearings last year and this year, there's multiple things as far as the budget is how can we keep the mill levy as low as possible for our taxpayers with meeting all the demands that we have on campus? And how do we keep tuition and fees as low as possible for our students? There's lots of needs on campus as far as improvements and things that need to be done. But we also have fiduciary responsibility to the stakeholders to try and do this with as spending as less money as we have to, but getting the biggest impact that we can.
Thank you, Aaron. David?
Well, we'd start off as board members, giving the president direction on what we think needs to be in that budget. But also when we look at the budget, what guides it? Tax dollars, mill levies. We got to know we got to communicate with the other taxing entities in the county, the Holcomb School District, the City of Garden City, USD 457. You know, if they raise theirs and we raise ours, what's that going to do to the general public? So we got to cooperate with them too and keep an eye on all of it. You know, trying to keep it down by still growing, that is a challenge.
Thank you, David. Shanda?
Well, of course, first and foremost is always that fiscal responsibility to the taxpayers and the students. And after that, I think we continually have to focus on maintenance of the grounds, the buildings, the equipment, the technology that the students are using, all of the facilities in general. And I think we always need to be mindful of making sure our faculty and staff are fairly and adequately paid. We have some tremendous faculty and staff members on that campus, and to the best of our ability, to the best that we can do within the budget we're giving and balanced with the other needs and wants around campus, we've got to make sure that they're fairly treated, and happy instructors lead to happy students, I find. We also need to be mindful when we are setting budgets, not just to pay today's bills, but how are we setting ourselves up for those future programs, for those future needs, for future housing needs for students, for future program space that might be needed.
Thank you, Shanda. Scott?
What guides me personally when I'm building my own budget, but also then as I'm sitting as a Board of Trustee member, you have to have an eye to the tax load, obviously, and then the cash flow, because people need to live life. And last I checked, no one's asking for higher taxes. At the same time, when we're actually looking to guide the decision-making of building the budget, it's an examination of the programming that's taking place and how it fits into the vision for moving forward. And so it might be necessary to adjust how the monies are being expended. It may be because we're not really getting the bang for the buck in this particular area. I don't have an area in mind, by the way. But I would like to see growth in the vocational areas, as Vanessa was talking about, because those are direct pipelines to the workforce. So that's a specific area within that, but holistically, again, it's an examination of the various programs and how they fit into helping us better set up our students. And I mean students from the age of 16 to 85. It's one of the things I love about a junior college is they're uniquely positioned to serve the needs of all the population, not just the 18 to 20-year-old set. That's why I actually prefer a JICO over an institution of higher ed, because they're kind of locked in. But you still have to look at what the programs are and where they're headed, and are they producing the results that we want for, and what that means is for the individual people. You know, as they walk across the stage, are they moving into a viable profession where they'll be able to live a happy, healthy life here in Finney County or Western Kansas, or if they choose to leave the state. Because if they do leave the state and people ask, well, where are you from? They say, well, I went to Garden City Community College. And that is also a recruitment tool to bring people back. And the success goes out and it begets success. So.
Thank you, Scott. Vanessa?
Keeping taxes low is always goal. But I know as a mother, if I want my child to receive a good education, and if somehow my taxes have to go up, I understand that. Will we try to keep it low? Of course. Maybe we can look at other funding sources, you know? That way there's, you know, we have an accessible and affordable college, because that's the good thing about us, that we do. I mean, I can go spend money that I spend at Fort Hays at Johnson County Community College, you know? But, you know, seeking grants, see if there's any grants that can help that funding. The partnerships that you have with stakeholders and, you know, other businesses and stuff, could we partner to where recruitment for certain services and, you know, that could have some type of incentive, you know, if hired, and how we can help with that, I think. But most importantly, finding other funding sources if available while keeping taxes low.
Thank you, Vanessa. Beth?
Vanessa, you did such a good job. 2 of my points you had right there. Number one, as the college exists, and with the policy governance, the board sets the expectations. The CEO, our president, then sets the expectations of the different divisions, departments, and as a group, starting with the departments, they look at what they absolutely need and then they dream. That's the thing. You dream and you dream and you dream, and you want the best for this community and the best for our students to be ready to go. That takes a look at priorities. You must prioritize, and then the one thing, the 2 things I was talking about, or that we talked about, was finding somebody to help you, grants, and there are grants all over this nation to help us. There are local grants. I remember when we put the piano lab in. That was we thought, how in the world will we ever get that? There are foundations in this town that are very willing to help. Look at what happened just this week, or was announced this week, with the bringing health services to our students. That partnership with St. Catherine Hospital was, how in the world can we do this? And it's difficult to get students into doctors. And we went to Finney County Health, the Genesis, which was the old Mexican American Ministries. Now, with that partnership, it's a great opportunity to serve our students. That's what we look for.
Thank you, Beth. What a segue into the next question. David, we're starting with you. What do you see as Garden City Community College trustees' role in improving the health of the students and staff at Garden City Community College?
Well, like Beth said, getting health care on campus is a good start, but making the place that everybody wants to work. If they're happy working there, they're going to be in better health. Give them time to make their own decisions, give them that opportunity, and that comes from the CEO, the president, making it his job to get them involved. Like Beth says, after working out there for several years, you see these departments get together and plan and dream. I know in the technical division, one year it may be fire science that gets the nice equipment. Next year it may be automotive. You know, what is the biggest need? They work together. So, you know, health and welfare is getting them to be happy there, getting the services out there to the college, making it as cost-effective as possible to all employees and students.
Thank you, David. Shanda?
Well, access is, of course, very important, and things like doing the flu shots. What was it, 97 flu shots on campus the other day with St. Catherine. That's imperative, because not all students on campus have access to a car or other transportation to go off campus. So making sure those resources that are needed on a daily basis are affordable and available to them. as far as the students go, I really think the most important thing as a board and even administration and faculty can do for these students is educate them. Educate them how important a flu shot is. Educate them that there are affordable resources out there for them. With the typical age set of a community college, STDs and education with that and prevention is always vitally important. And so I think making sure they're informed and they have all the information and all the resources available to them to make the best choices for their health is the most important thing we can do. Thanks.
Thank you, Shannon. Scott?
I believe as far as a trustee member, the role is to setting the expectation in the vision that the programming will be made available to the students, to the staff. And this is physical and emotional as well. Unfortunately, there has been an uptick in the last several years around the concept of trauma. We have more and more young people, and old people rather, myself, who experience trauma. We just do. Adulting is difficult. And so we need to have in place, and once again as a trustee, helping set the vision to have in place programming that will allow the individuals, whether they're a student or a staff member, to avail themselves of the opportunities that are present, that should be present, to help them along those lines. And I don't know about anyone else out there, but if anybody experiences difficulty paying their bills, that makes it difficult to function in almost any other facet of their life. So when we're talking about emotional health, there needs to be under student services, an uptick or more so, financial literacy type lessons or opportunities for people to learn. I absolutely agree with the concepts of the nursing services, the flu shots, the STD education pieces. These are real life happenings. And as these things hit, it does, like I said, it manifests itself into trauma. The other side of that is those who are in support and helping with the individuals who are experiencing trauma. There is a thing called compassion fatigue. I'm continually talking with my building principals about take care of yourself. You cannot be a great principal if you're dead. You have to take care of yourself and take care of your family. We do what we do because we're trying to provide for our family. So we need to set the vision, have the programming for physical and emotional health available to all members of the educational community.
Thank you, Scott. Vanessa?
The partnerships with St. Catherine has been great. I don't know if very many people know, but Genesis, we actually provide mental health services free to students there on campus 10 hours a week. So that's something that we've just created a partnership just recently, and that's something great to have. But some things that I feel that probably should be addressed and haven't necessarily been addressed is definitely substance abuse, because we know it happens in college, and dental care. We don't have enough of those dental care services, so maybe partnering up with a dentist or a dental provider to be able to offer those services to the college students. Like student support services has always sent really good referrals. But I think, being able to have the community and what they have to offer with Garden City Community College will be better for everybody, and especially the students. But if we can put some type of emphasis in substance abuse and dental care, I think that would be great.
Thank you, Vanessa. Beth?
Again, partnerships within the community will help. We cannot have a psychiatrist on campus, but we can make arrangements with the different groups in Kansas, or in Garden City particularly, or in the area. There are a number of ways. I know, as I mentioned, and Callie, what's the name of your organization? Yeah. And look out partnerships. We will have to, and we leave this, again, we set the expectation. We leave the actual work and the path, how we get there to the college. We do have a college health nurse, by the way. She is very good in searching out ways to help our students. But again, it's so important that we know, and not just our students, our faculty. we must provide the living atmosphere, the healthy atmosphere for those people to be healthy. And by this I mean mutual respect and ways to find services that we cannot provide ourselves.
Thank you, Beth. Aaron?
So as Scott mentioned, compassion fatigue, I understand that very much as a funeral director and serving so many other people and losing track of yourself, not only as the faculty, but also the students. One of the other important things is partnerships with such as Live Well Finney County. Live Well Finney County came to the Board of Trustees and presented on making campus nicotine free. In Finney County, all of Finney County, you must be 21 to possess or consume any nicotine products. However, to this day, the current trustees have failed to enact anything on campus. At the time that Live Well first came and presented to them, they did have a grant to possibly get the community college money. However, the grant is now no longer available, and so we lost out on the money that the campus could have had. Also looking, going off St. Catherine, the partnership with having Dr. Rosine on campus 1 day a week is an excellent partnership. Also, the partnership with Dr. Greason being on the sidelines for sporting events, but also with Family Crisis. Family Crisis being on campus to work with the students in their families as far as with anything that may have happened to them on campus or off campus. But then also the opioid crisis. I know it's in the news everywhere, and a lot of drug and substance abuse addictions, as Vanessa said, begin at the college age. Educating them on opioids, the effects of it, the long-term effects, and working with the faculty, administrators, and the staff to get those unprescribed pills out of the hands of the students. But the trustees' role in that is setting the expectations and empowering the administration and the faculty and staff to engage everyone in those.
Thank you, Aaron. Shanda, start with you on this next question. In what ways do you believe board members should gain wisdom from the business community to determine what is expected for a productive workforce?
Well, like I said before, I do think it's important that we understand the world goes on off of campus and that there are so many stakeholders that are affected by this college that go beyond those few blocks that house the actual facility. And getting out and getting involved with other community events and seeing what that feedback is, because sometimes community members that come to campus have different perspectives, I guess you'd say, than some of those that never get the opportunity to come directly and bring their thoughts and opinions and needs to the board directly. So going to where the community members are, going to where the new businesses are, working with the chamber on what future businesses are looking at coming to Garden City, Finney County, and even Western Kansas as a whole. And just being really in touch with the business leaders, employers in the area, and potential business leaders and employers.
Thank you, Shanda. Scott?
Ways of gaining knowledge of what the business community needs, desires. It comes back to communication again. Most everything does, communication and trust. Involvement, once again, being present, not just being visible, being present and engaging with people. And looking for other ways to receive the information as well. We should look at any and all forms of communication, synchronous and asynchronous ways. Just because I happen to communicate in a certain manner doesn't mean the person sitting across the desk from me does as well. So we need to look at utilizing social media to find out what people might need or want. We need to look at, well, and the emerging technologies of social media that come along with that as well. I will admit, I'm not a digital native whatsoever, but my kids are. And so in my professional life, I've ventured out there. I tweet, do a podcast, do a variety of different things where social media so as to reach that other population who doesn't communicate like I do. And so we have to find out how people communicate, be visible, be present, and truly listen to what they're asking and what they're seeking. Because it's not just my opinion, I'm, once again, representing the ownership of the community college. And that's the people in the business community as well, obviously. Their taxes help support, and their kids go to school here. I would also love to see a visible presence, more so even, downtown. I think it's great to have that butcher shop downtown, a presence there. We need to look for more opportunities like that. Why not? Why not come up with another idea that is downtown with the presence so people can pop in and they have the Garden City brand, if you will. And it builds the whole concept of we are Garden City. We are Garden City Community College. You know, the TV show or the movie We Are Marshall. Why couldn't it be we are Garden City Community College? And that means everybody.
Thank you, Scott. Vanessa?
Communication. He took mine, but communication is big. And mainly communication so that we could see, for example, from the businesses, what does their future hold? What can we provide to them based on how they plan to expand or how they plan on moving forward? I think that's going to be the big one, just communicating. Surveys is also a good way, reaching out to community members, reaching out to businesses, and like I've said before, in multiple languages, reaching out to just also the common people, the community, and just to see where we're all going to move forward and how we can continue that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Beth?
One of the things that I think has always been helpful to us have been the advisory boards for the different programs. That's the best place for communication to go back and forth. I also think we need to look at the areas. If there are things that we cannot afford, let's talk to, there are 4 community colleges in western Kansas. The methods of, or the memos of understanding, as we mentioned earlier, the fire science and the health areas, and there are things that our students can take here without us having to put in the expensive program that maybe they can get the last year at Seward County, Vet Tech, at Colby, and so forth. We look at ways that we can meet our community's needs, and then we go for it. I agree, communications, openness, getting on some boards that gives you community exposure. You'll learn definitely what our business community needs. Are we sending our students prepared for the job that they must do for them? Only with communication and openness, transparency, and be willing to take a few hits every now and then when they say, wait a minute, that's not what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Aaron?
So as with the business community, I kind of have a slight upper hand with being a businessman here in Garden City, and I sit on the advisory board for the business department at Garden City Community College. We're actually getting ready for our meeting here this next week. So getting more people involved in those meetings and at those meetings, strengthening our work through the nursing program with clinicals, both at St. Catherine and at our multiple nursing homes, as both kinds of nursing care are both very strongly different. Also with the fire science, we have a great partnership with the City of Garden City Fire Department, and then being able to use the fire tower for training and looking at other communities and how we can strengthen partnerships with them to help keep all of our communities in Southwest Kansas safe. The memos of understanding that Beth mentioned are absolutely phenomenal, that we are able to partner with the other community colleges in the region and help them out as well as them helping us out at Garden City Community College. The other thing is working with economic development, the Chamber of Commerce Downtown Vision. I know economic development, they increased the funding with it with the understanding that Nicole Lucas would be on campus part of the week. Working with Garden City to find out which way our business communities are going and where we need the additional training and certifications at on campus. And so I think with that partnership, we stand a very strong possibility to grow even further than what we already are.
Thank you, Aaron. David?
As everyone has said, communications. Whether it's continuing to work with the economic development, we have a trustee on that board as well. So we know what's coming in, work well together to determine what college can do for them. Communications when we're out doing businesses with, on our own personal time. You know, go into the tire shop, see what they need. Be available on social media for those responses of whether it be listening to them complain or, again, just being available, having them be able to contact us, email us direct. Attend to advisory meetings is best said. The technical programs, business has advisory meetings. Now, I'm familiar with the DPS. We have over 20-plus partners that show up to those advisory meetings from Southwest Kansas. We just need to continue to get that involved with all our programs. And then that's where we get the ideas of what they need. You know, one of the things that they've talked about is how do we get students, people coming into the workforce to show up on time? Well, is that our job as educators? Yes. It's very important. So listen to them, again. Attend those advisory meetings yourself so you know. That's all.
Thank you, David. Last question we'll have this evening, we'll start with Scott. How should Garden City Community College market itself as a viable option for post-secondary education?
Well, it's just essential to hit any and all potential students. So there is no one way, and there are ways, I think Shanda alluded to this earlier, you know, programming needs to be looking forward far enough for things that haven't even been invented yet. You know, professions that haven't been invented yet. Similarly with communication. I think it's a mistake to just cast a net and say, well, we serve Finney County. No, we can serve the world through the global connections of the online classes. However, they're not the panacea everybody thinks they are. They have to be done correctly. It does no good to be in any sort of program if it doesn't lead to something, personal fulfillment and or some form of employment. So I'm all for the online opportunities as long as they're done with fidelity and properly and actually make a difference for people's lives as they move forward from there. So we need to market it through, we need to have a strong relationship with any and all school districts within a multiple county area. We need to have strong marketing efforts statewide. I do think I like the idea of working with having memorandums of agreement with other entities. Say, why couldn't we share students or experiences with someone from Colby or someone from Highland or someone from Coffeyville? Why not? Because we don't. That's why. Let's think outside that box and see, well, how, because we don't really know yet what somebody needs 10 years from now or how they want us to communicate with them. So it needs to be a bright light of emphasis of marketing because you're not going to stay open long if you don't have students. That's just the pragmatics of business. And so we need to reach out with and create as many quality relationships with all these different entities as possible.
Thank you, Scott. Vanessa?
Our slogan is, "From here you can go anywhere," and that's true. And in order for us to do that, we need to continue to demonstrate that we are able to prepare our students to those other institutions. And, you know, hiring quality faculty, which we do have, is very important, and able to properly, you know, show that we do have a strong education and that we provide good education to our students. Again, keeping those partnerships with those other four-year institutions and probably bringing in more classes that can be very similar, that can correlate to some of the programs that they have. I think that would be very beneficial and important. And to show them that, you know, we do have quality students and we can provide a good education, and just continue to do that and strive for that.
Thank you, Vanessa. Beth?
Oh, this is my area. I can remember when I first went out on the road for the college, and we would just show up the high schools. I'd just expect them to, oh, we're so glad you're here. The marketing, I think the college has really developed well in this area. The 100th anniversary party was probably the greatest thing that's happened in this community for a long time. We got people out on that campus to communicate, to take advantage of the services. I went through the different buildings and what the opportunities they had for the little kids. Okay, that has to be one of the best things that's happened in this community for a long, long time. Costs, we are low cost comparison to even to the schools around. Scholarships are available. When I worked at Garden City Community College, we were committed to provide scholarships for any Finney County student, regardless of age. And I think that's still going on. Small classes, excellent instructors. Oh my goodness. The buildings are up to date, with the exception of the Pauline Joyce and that fine arts, and I think that's the next one on to be upgraded. Our band and our choir, just the last 3-4 weeks, we've had high school kiddos in the concerts with them. And marching out on that field, Healy High School. My gosh, they were all ages. My best recruiting experience was one time I got 50% of a graduating class. I got 2 students out of 4 at Healy High School. The dual credit enrollments, the transferability. Our students transfer well. We're in the top 50 colleges in the United States, and with your help, we'll keep it going.
Thank you, Beth. Aaron?
Garden City Community College is blessed with the marketing department that they have. We're also blessed with the admissions counselors, the recruiters that we have as well. I refer to the recruiters in the admissions office as the road warriors. They're the ones out there going to the high schools, meeting with the students, telling them the positive things about what coming to campus can do for you. I also think that we're doing a great job as far as working with high schools for dual credit, whether it be through ITV or with Garden City High School with the students actually coming to campus or the instructors going to the high school. But looking at possibly even doing that even more with more schools or offering more classes as an option to the high school students. Also, with our partnerships, I know we have several partnerships with several four-year universities where you can continue your four-year degree here on campus, but looking at possibly more of those so we can help our non-traditional students that want to further themselves without the expense of moving away from the community to where they can stay here with their job and with their family. Also, just keeping in mind the mission statement of Garden City Community College, which is to produce positive contributors to the social and economic well-being of society. And how are we going to use our course offerings and our marketing plan with the marketing department to further that mission statement?
Thank you, Aaron. David?
Marketing's tricky. You've got everybody in the world advertising what their college is good at. And once had an employer tell me that you need to pat yourself on the back. Just recently, we had being named as one of the top 50 U.S. schools for successful transfer from community college four-year universities. We've had several of those type of things happen over the past few years. We say it once, and then it's kind of forgotten. We need to be out there pushing the positive things, maybe doing surveys on the students when they leave, getting them involved. What can you do to help us? If they had a positive effect, out there, they'll pass it on to their siblings, their other students that they know, friends. I know some of the programs, DPS, they have a program every year where Lake and sixth graders come over here. And we get those people in class. So just putting out there what we have, how viable it is, how much it costs, the good things that we've accomplished. And I think it'll grow. Again, Ashley's doing a wonderful job out there.
Thank you, David. Shanda.
Students first. We've got to stay focused on the students and their needs and success and let them know that that's what our focus is today and in the future. Part of that is affordability, letting them know how affordable it is and what resources the endowment and other organizations have for them scholarship-wise, and making sure the students know that part of coming first is that instructor availability and the small class size that we can offer that larger institutions can't do. The diversity of our programs, both technical and those wanting an associate's degree or to continue on, the clubs and activities that we have for students to be involved in, from band and the athletics, is an immense offering compared to most institutions our size, and I think that's a great benefit to those students that like to stay busy. Our teaching program is an example of one of our partnerships that students can get far more through Garden City Community College than many other community colleges can offer by being able to work on their bachelor's from here. We've got to let those students know that we've got a fabulous, friendly community willing to open their arms and welcome these students as family. Not every college can offer the family type atmosphere that our campus and our community does. If we can create an atmosphere of enthusiasm, it'll be contagious to every prospective student. We've had a great 100 years, and I'm excited to see the mark that this new class of students over the next 100 years is going to make. Thanks.
Thank you, Shanda. That concludes the question and answer session of tonight's forum. Oh, we're not done yet. Candidates, we thank you for your time and willingness to be a part of this event. At this time, we will invite each candidate to provide a 2-minute closing statement. And with that, we'll start with David.
Said before, but I've been supporting the college for over 40 years now. Attended and graduated from college, volunteered for the Phonathon to help gain money for scholarships after graduating, helped the students through industry involvement, and then becoming a criminal justice instructor. Now, through these 40 years, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of this college's reputation. I believe we're in the area now of being great. Especially, like I said a few minutes ago about the top 50 U.S. schools for successful transfers. I've worked with Dr. Ruda for several years, believe he's the right candidate in that job. I believe that my experience as a student, community stakeholder, faculty member, give me a variety of experiences to draw on from making quality decisions as a trustee. I've been interested in becoming trustee on the board for several years, but I had to resign from the college or retire from the college because the state law would not allow it. So since that time, in May of 2016, I've attended a majority of the board meetings so I could stay well informed. Like Aaron, I attended 2 board retreat sessions where training was given on policy governance. It was very insightful. Am I the best candidate for the job? I don't know. But I believe that my experiences be benefit for the position. I know I have the support of staff, faculty, and administrative members. Last thing I have to say is get out and vote. Every vote counts. I know that since in the 2016 election, Dr. Walsinger beat me by 4 votes. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Vanessa.
This college has been around for 100 years, and it's here for much longer. We shall continue to strive for excellence with vocational and technical programs that will meet the needs for Western Kansas, maintain partnerships with other institutions and businesses, as well as accessibility to all people, traditional and non-traditional students. I'm not a seasoned veteran at this venue. It's all new to me. But it means enough for me to step forward and address the concerns and the visions that I feel are what best for the college. I'm a first-generation college student. I'm a proud Bronkbuster. And I want to give back to the school that gave me the opportunity to gain higher education and to get me where I am today. I'm a fresh product of that educational relationship with other public educational institutions. I have the desire to gain knowledge in the workings of the college as well as policy governance. I'm here because I feel in my heart to be here and to provide a different perspective in the policies that govern our institution, as well as a cultural perspective. My parents didn't have the opportunity to go to college. My father earned his GED as an adult, older in age, and my mother never had the opportunity to go to school. However, they instilled the importance of education in me. And although I stumbled, I came back and followed through, and that experience taught me something. I want to ensure that everyone has the opportunity that I had at Garden City Community College. And if elected, I will ensure to represent the college well, the community well, and expand on that vision to continue to make this a great institution. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Scott?
My wife told me not to say these words, but I'm going to. Maybe she'll be watching this, maybe not. You have 5, hopefully 6, candidates who are displaying a lot of passion, excitement, dedication to this. What a great problem to have if you have problems going into the booth and pulling the right levers. I applaud all of you, really, truly I did. I started with this way. I'm a unicorn, not a very pretty unicorn, but a unicorn nonetheless, in the fact that I was born and raised in eastern Kansas, but I've chosen to come back out to western Kansas because I know the lifestyle is just a wonderful place to be. It just is. I've had a vast array of experiences in and around education. It's my passion. Last candidate forum we had, it's true. I'm an education nerd, and that's what it is. It's my hobby, it's my love, it's what I do. Something else I did not say, though, is I won't fail for lack of trying. I may not be the most intelligent person in the room, but I'll work hard. I'm doggedly stubborn. So whatever it is that needs to be done, I'll work toward it. And one of those things is I know how well or how much a community college advantages a community. It just does. So join me in this. I believe in a bright future for the students of Garden City Community College. I believe in a bright future for the staff of Garden City Community College. I believe in a bright future for the owners of Garden City Community College. I believe in the bright future for the greater educational community of Southwest Kansas. And I also believe in the bright future for Finney County. It's this kind of institution that will help us move forward. And I guarantee you I'll do my absolute level best to see that vision through. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Shanda?
I'm a detail-oriented person that's not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and I'll thoroughly and thoughtfully research all decisions put in front of me. My approach to decision-making would include evaluating issues brought before the board from 3 different perspectives. First, as a taxpayer, is this fiscally responsible choice, and does the benefit to the college and to the community justify the expenditure while keeping tuition as affordable as possible? Secondly, as a community member and business owner, are we serving the educational needs and workplace training and technical training needs of the region to support our growing economy? And most importantly, personally, as a parent, does it serve our current and future students in the best way possible? I think this will enable me to represent stakeholders effectively while lining up with the 4 strategic pillars that serve as the guidepost for the college's goals, which are student success, institutional partnerships, fiscal solvency, and sustainable infrastructure. I want the community, parents, and students to feel that the board represents them and can trust that their best interest will guide the decisions made by the trustees and administration. Improving the trust between stakeholders and the Board of Trustees will require open, honest communication and a genuine willingness to listen. I'm focused on a fresh start for GCCC's next century and ensuring its continued success. An informed, educated community is vital to securing the next 100 years at Garden City Community College. So thank you all for coming and being a part of this important process. We all play a role in improving and growing our community and Garden City Community College. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanda. Aaron?
Like I said at the beginning, as a trustee, I want to ensure that transparency, integrity, and that we remain as an affordable 2-year educational institution, regardless of any student's gender, race, or religion. I also believe that I have a high standard of integrity and ethics in my personal and professional life, which is needed to reinstate the trust level between the trustees and the stakeholders of Vinnie County. I also feel that my experience with my father being a teacher on campus for 28 years, and by serving on the endowment board, serving on the business advisory committee, has led me to see things through a different eye. Also, by being 27 for a few more weeks, and just graduating 5 years ago from a junior college allows me a unique perspective of close to what today's students need, with also having the idea of being the taxpayer and the stakeholder in the community. I also feel that my activism with the community at the local level and at the state level by being on state board of directors for nonprofit organizations in Topeka helps me to have the connections to Topeka and on the national level. I also feel that fully understanding the legal and fiduciary responsibility of a trustee once you are elected is very important, and by serving on other nonprofit boards and by attending every meeting except for maybe one in the past 24 months has really helped me have a very eye-opening and a very wide grasp of the duties of the trustees.
Thank you, Aaron. Beth?
I love Garden City Community College. It is so important to this community, and when you look around and you see the students that came here from way out of state, some of them, and they chose to come back to Garden City to make their living, to raise their families, that's important. My number one goal is to assist the trustees, the college administrators, the faculty, students, to regain the confidence and trust of our constituents. We have a great college for our community and our students. Current board members and administrators have made tremendous steps in regaining this trust in the past few years, or in the past year, in prioritizing, planning, and implementing changes. I believe, because of the various experiences that I've had at the college, I believe that I have the background knowledge of policies, procedures, and the policy governance that I could be an excellent board member. With your help, let's go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's program. Please join me again in thanking our candidates for their time. This forum will be rebroadcast between now and the November 5th election on Garden City's Channel 8. We'd also like to thank the city for their assistance in doing this. The primary election is set for Tuesday, November 5th, and we encourage the citizens of Garden City to vote. The score at halftime is Kansas City 20, Denver 6.
Yes.
I've not been watching.